Hey, 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 how's it going, coach?
Man, if you gonna say that, Val, you gotta be like Fat Albert. Hey, 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 it's Fat Albert. You gotta finish that sentence, right? You can't just "What's up, Coach?" I'm good. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm having a blessed, wonderful Tuesday. It's been a very, very busy Tuesday. And
Yes.
like I said, you, my man, it's been a fun time. And of course, we have a jam-packed talk on Tuesdays waiting for you guys. So my goodness, we're going to talk about the average Joe, the all-American, and of course the Americans that are meeting in the DNC. This is
Yes,
Talk
sir.
on Tuesdays. We will be back right after this. It's Interludes Extra presents Talk on Tuesdays with me, your host, and of course, the host with the most is Coach Tony. And of course, we want to let you guys know about one of our affiliate sponsors, KeySpot. Share, connect, and grow. It's the app that will let you know where to go, no matter where you are in the 48 continuous states. And of course, your girl here has written this phenomenal book called A DJ Saved My Life, My Life, My Life, My Life.
Bow, 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 bow.
And of course, you can go ahead and grab and pick up a ebook copy. It's available right now. You scan that QR code. We'll go ahead and you can go to purelightHousemedia.net. And of course, Patreon, our Patreon. Join our community via Patreon today. Let's go to patreon.com/interludes and find your voice and get some tips on how you can get started on your podcast. And of course, Coach, oh my goodness, this was such
Hey,
a good time. Of course.
like the 4th of July all over again, Val, last night.
It was. And before we get to last night, my goodness, one of my friends who's a good, I want to call it just a great friend out of Brooklyn.
Brooklyn
August,
in the
it's
house.
National Black Business Month. We're celebrating Black businesses throughout the month, but she has been working with Healthy Families of New York for a very long time. I don't know. Do you recognize the person that my friend Roxanne met who's in the Dead Center?
Man, my eyes are playing tricks on me like Scarface them said.
So if you ever was a fan of Naughty by Nature,
Oh yeah, that's my man Vinny.
that's Vinny from Naughty by
Right.
Nature.
And I just love Vinny. Vinny he spit the hardest. I love Trent, but I love Vinny.
So Roxanne is in the light blue shirt. She was telling people on the CW, the network channel 11 on last night in New York. And of course they took a picture and she sent it to me. I said, can I share it with my audience? She said, sure. I was like, yeah, because you're my audience.
She need to tell Vinny that, oh, Trent, they need to get up on the show. That's what needs to happen.
Exactly. So I have to call Roxanne and see what happened. Now, what's happening here in Chicago is the DNC, of course, Joe, uh, Kamala, and Hillary, and a few others did their thing on last night. But what I want to talk about is my cousin, who is the music producer for this particular platform. He's in the Dead Center singing with
Okay.
the Walt Whitman Soul Children of Chicago. They were one of the musical guests and opened up for the DNC last night.
Oh man. Now let me ask you, Val. Does the
Mhm.
DNC stand for doing it colored?
I don't know. I have no clue. But that's my cousin Kendall Nesbitt, and they're singing with the Soul Children of Chicago, and of course
Nice.
he had a whole reel and everything, just kind of promoting it and everything. I can't show the reel because of the music that's being played, but of course he's the one. Every time you hear our theme music, he's the one that put the tickled the ivories to give us the
There you
great
go. There you go.
theme we have. Oh my gosh. So that's what was happening. But what I want to talk about is our first ever fan appreciation show that happened on last night. Coach Tony, you had about 4 or 5 guests on that came and did their thing, talked about Noah Lyles, the 2024 Olympics, who's the greatest. It was a lot. I mean, a good time, Coach. What do you say?
Man, Val, the funny part about it, let me give a rundown shout out to my cousin Wesley Wilson, Southern Illinois, Mr. Mark Lee, guest of both Interludes and also the Pull Up Podcast down in North Kakalaka. My homeboy I grew up with, started my business with, rather than James Ward, and then my assistant coach Justin Allen. I appreciate him, Val, and like you said, a complete, impactful show. And I really was surprised that as I laid the show out, we were able to get through everything that I laid out under, give or take the time, frame we wanted to, but it was so great. And today I got called back from all the gentlemen that said they absolutely loved it. They met new friends on the show. They respected everybody's thoughts and ideas. Like I said, for those that are watching the Pull Up Podcast show, stay tuned for season 2, because at the end of the season, we're going to do it again.
I have to say we've been going and rolling since January, the middle of January. And of course, I was typing this in, but I could just say this particular show wraps up our first season. 23 episodes are in the bucket, of course. And so as we see it here, the Pull Up Podcast show live will return on September 9th. And you have a really great guest coming on September 9th. Who is that?
Yeah, so for those that come in, we're going to really focus in. We've got the WNBA going on. Val, we got a young lady by the name of Alexis Levi. She is a podcaster herself, but she is a business mogul in the sports world, Val, and living in Las Vegas. So she's out there with the Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA and with the Raiders. So she's going to be able to bring us some information firsthand. And I'm excited to get an opportunity to kick season 2 off with her. And it's going to be absolutely exciting. So for those that don't know, don't meet me there because you'll be locked out. Beat me there. You get in before 10. You know what I'm saying? You remember back in the day, Val, you got in before 10 o'clock. After that, they charge you $20 at the door.
I didn't like that.
I ain't like that either. But unless I was throwing a party, I love it.
Mm-hmm. The Fan Appreciation Show wraps up our very first season of the Pull Up Podcast show. And like I said, we will be back on September 9th, 2024. And of course, with great guests, that is the coach. And that's what we are always excited about. And before we go to break, our first break, oh my gosh, it is Tina Michelle, one of our former guests. Hello, family.
And
she says,
thank you, Tina, for jumping on last night. She was on the show last night too, Val. And she worked overtime. Hey, we're gonna see you a little check under the table. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that.
Oh my gosh. But like I said, we are excited and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about All-American and Average Joe right after this.
Hey, it's your main man, right back at you. Coming live here from the Rise Studios. And it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more, about this right here, oh yeah. That right there, that's the rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities to get paid, you want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go.
Let's go. Hey, that's my nephew. I'm sending a shout out to my nephew, Young Farrah, the rap artist out of Atlanta, ATL. Bam. Put it down. Appreciate the track. And Tina Michelle, girl, you got me. Reach out to Val, give my info, give me a shout. Talk NIL. So I want to make sure that you get an opportunity to learn some things for your son or your daughter, or the questions that you need about the newcomer. Because there are some changes that are coming to the NIL this season. So I want to make sure that you're well informed.
Very much so. And like I said, what a great time that we had on last night. But like I said, the Pull Up Podcast show, we'll still be here doing our thing. But of course, we return live with the Pull Up Podcast show on September 9th. Now, we have been checking out, it initially premiered on BET Plus last year. And in fact, they advertised it during the 2023 BET Awards. So this series is about a year old, but however, it got itself over to Netflix. And of course, Chicago's own Deon Cole.
Cole, baby.
Yeah, so he is leading up this extremely talented cast in Average Joe. And so the full first season is available on Netflix, because I don't know if enough people are going over to BET Plus to see it, but it initially premiered on BET Plus in June of 2023. I got a chance to watch half of the season, and I don't know. I feel like it's a Sopranos with Martin and a few other things and a couple other genres mixed in. There's funny, there's laughter, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. What has been your take of the series so far?
Exactly what you just said. I think that, I didn't know that this aired, a year or so ago. And what you have, first of all, the young lady that plays his homeboy's wife, I'm looking at her, Val, I'm like, wait a minute. Is that the young lady that's on the 50 Cent show or you on her? So I'm like, nah, it's a different character. But it's so funny because when we talk about Deon Cole, the first thing you think is what?
I think comedy, and I immediately think Blackish.
Funny. Yeah, funny.
Blackish.
You're thinking funny. If you're thinking comedy, you're thinking something that's like, and for him to take on not quasi a movie role, but a short script role, and he still is funny in this because he's got some one-liners, that make you just fall out your chair. But I thought is excellent, and it's got a great plot to it.
The people that you look. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I said I was expecting, with him doing something. Each episode, Val, they're trying to build up on something, but he's actually got a episode that leads to the next episode, that makes you want to keep watching because you're like, hold up, this could not possibly happen. And there's a little bit of air thing going on from the police to the homeboy to the mafia. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. So we got Deon Cole playing Joe Washington, who plays his wife, wonderful sitcom actress Tammy Townsend, Malcolm Barnett, who plays his brother, and of course Cynthia Kai McWilliams. She plays Kathy Montgomery, and then also Ashley Olivia Fisher. She plays Jennifer Washington. She plays the daughter, and of course we got Chris Pavokovic, and then also Darren Troder, and then also Michael Trucco. He plays the officer, which he gets. Officer Benjamin.
I love his character is crazy.
Yeah, he's.
I'm telling y'all right now, get your homeboys over, And you ain't got to worry about sneaking chicken into the movie theater and get you some bourbon or something, sit down, get you some drinks and chill out. And get you your chicken and your popcorn and your whatever and watch Average Joe. Because he ain't average. Ain't Val, he ain't average. And
Nothing average. He is a blue collar plumber.
Yep.
And he unfortunately in the first episode, it is all about, honoring his deceased father. But something that he didn't know about his dad had a secret life and stole a lot of money from
from the wrong people.
Wrong folks. And now those people want that money back. And so it's a race.
From the wrong people, they're gonna keep looking.
You're right. So there's a race against time, and it's very interesting to his reactions, Deon Cole's reactions to just the crazy that happens in this season is hilarious.
It's absolutely it's classic. And as Val just told you guys, like they said back in the day, whatsoever you do not turn your head, blink, or miss the first episode, because the entire season is incumbent on that first episode. That first episode tell you everything you need to know, and then some.
I know. Congrats to Tina Michelle. She says in the chat that we own NILO TV network. Okay. And then she also says she's been wondering about Average Joe, and she says, I'm gonna check it out.
Okay, and I'm gonna jump on that. I'm gonna jump on NIL TV, talking a little bit about this. So we got to connect, so I can jump on that show, and bring the one and only Coach Tony to pull a podcast over there to you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And the city that this series is based in is Pittsburgh. Yeah, so Pittsburgh Steelers. I love seeing them talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and how much they really appreciate it and all the rest of that. But Average Joe, it initially aired on BET Plus. The second season they're shooting it right now. It'll be premiering on BET Plus a little bit later this year. Keep in mind there was a delay in shooting because of the writers and actors strike on last year. But Deon Cole, and who else? Deon Cole. Malcolm Barnett. Cynthia McWilliams, they'll all be returning in Average Joe's second season. But if you guys want to catch up, if you don't have BET Plus, then you'll be able to check it out on Netflix. So and this is not for your kids. Not for your kids.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, looking at the show, was there one particular thing that really grabbed your interest and really say, this is a pretty good show? Was there one particular thing that you can kind of, without giving the show away, kind of talk about that really made you or got you hooked watching it?
This is the second episode, and we saw kind of how deep the cop was getting into everything, like Benjamin character, the officer Benjamin.
Bumped his head off the side of the bridge.
Yeah, just you should that should not be the behavior of a cop, but he is there, and of course, just Tammy Townsend, who plays Angela, Joe's wife, the facial expressions of what happens. He finally, slowly reveals some of the things that's been happening, and she's just like, this cannot be happening. This is not our life. This should not be our life. And so, yeah.
I respect the fact of the matter. I'm gonna take it one step further. I like his homeboy and his wife, because she wild.
She is. Oh, good gracious.
Southside, she tell you what it is, how she gonna do it. Hey, hey, you want to throw them hands? We can do it, whatever you want to do. And what I really liked about it is that later on you find out the reason why the wife ended up marrying, Joe, and the reason why because she was in the legal field and all that. But I like how he took the entire series and brought it back to just an average family living in an average home in an average middle-class neighborhood, and they working every day to pay bills and trying to just make it check to check. And they got the same problems that other people do. They raise a beautiful family and trying to figure out how to put their daughter through school, who's a brainiac. So, and then they get caught in the midst of some crazy stuff, and now they find out that, damn, this go way back to my daddy. who I ain't really care about.
Yeah, and like I said, the show is 10 episodes, really, really good. This first season in the books. And so it's available on Netflix if you do not have BET Plus, but BET Plus did renew it for a second season. Really excited about that, because that means I find that a lot of comedic actors like a Dion Cole, they do well in drama. They do great.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I'm over on Instagram. Some folks have joined us over on Instagram and just asking, have some of you all seen Average Joe? Let us know in the chat if you have seen the episode or not. But like I said earlier, the writer's strike and the actor's strike, Average Joe was on hold and people didn't know if it was going to be coming back, but it is coming back. And like I said, it is the entire first season is on Netflix. Oh, I see. Our girl is here. Queen April is in the building. She says, I'm gonna have to watch Average Joe. Like I said, it's not for your children. Not for your children.
Well, I mean, that depends on what age they are.
Exactly. Well, if they grown, that's fine. But if it's somebody under the age of a certain situation,
Right.
you need to not have them do that. Now, I have to pivot. Any other thoughts on Average Joe?
I mean, Val, I just thought that I just want to give hats off, as they say nowadays, I want to give Dion his flowers, because for him to step in a role of the quasi series, where you got to work and get each series, is different than you doing a complete movie, because you're probably not in each scene in the movie, or you're in the majority of them. But here, you're the main character and you're in every single scene, every single series. And I just, again, hats off. And I think what you just said, if they're laying out season 2, that says that this was a success. And I'm hoping that, they stretch it out for a while.
Yeah, we want to see how things wrap up. And like I said, I've gotten through the first half of the season.
It was based on a true story. That's what the killer, based on a true story.
And the good thing about both of the series that we're going to be chit-chatting about today, as we transition now to the next one, it is also based on a true story, All American.
That's my show.
Mm-hmm. And Queen Lakeisha is in the building. Grand evening
welcome in
to you.
Queen. Hold on one second. Let me bow down.
So, and April is saying, I must watch it. I'm so grateful that you guys are checking it out. But I am such a fan of this show, All American. I've been watching it since it got released. And here's the thing, because it comes on Monday evenings when we have a show, we can't watch it, but it comes on Monday evenings, and I'm usually doing something on a Monday evening. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to wait till it goes to Netflix and then binge it. And that's what I'm doing with the 6th season. It is on Netflix, the whole 6th season of it. And what are your thoughts on All American?
See, I'm weird when it comes to that, Val. One, I don't want to talk to people like you, because I don't binge it.
Why not?
I tell people all the time, don't binge it and tell me nothing. Because what I actually want to do, I linger it out just like that. So let's say 6 weeks, I'm going to take 6 weeks to watch. I'm going to watch it 1 episode a week, or maybe 2. I may get it in 3 or 4, but I'm not going to binge it. I don't want to binge it. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to let it, I'm going to let Musa take it all in, you know what I'm saying? Because, our boy from the side, Tay Diggs, I hate it when I thought, as you and I were talking off camera, is that I thought that the show was going to take a deep dive when they took him out. But, we know that maybe the curveball, then when they went to Atlanta to do the homecoming show, I think that was a miss. But I think that they looked at the numbers, Val. They saw that it was a miss, and then they brought it back home to South Central Los Angeles and brought all the kids back together. And in this series here, the only one they took away was Liv. They sent her over to London, and because of her situation, and brought her back. And her and Daniel Ezra, who plays Spencer, are just, it's great. And this season was a season of love. A lot of
Right,
love.
exactly. So our lead actors, Dan, you just mentioned him, Daniel Ezra, and he is an English actor. He has an English accent. Did not know that. Samantha Logan plays Liv.
Yeah.
Michael Evans Belling plays Jordan Baker.
Hmm.
And then also we got Breezy. I don't know if you guys remember her. She
The
was
rapper.
from the rapper. She's from what was the name of the show that was shot here in Chicago with
You know,
uh
dog it, because she was spit
it's on the tip of my tongue.
the
It
Shy.
is on the tip of my tongue. No, it wasn't the Shy. She was in Empire.
Empire. Yeah. My
Yeah,
bad. Empire. Right.
she was on Empire. Monet Mazur, also Jalen Hall, who was also one of the young actor that was in Till. So he plays the
Mhm.
younger brother to Spencer James. And then of
Yep.
course Tay Diggs. I don't think Tay Diggs is from Chicago, is he?
Yeah, Tay from the
No,
Shy.
no.
Yeah.
Tay Diggs is from Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, Jerry. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tay Diggs
I'm thinking
from
about my
New York.
boy. I'm thinking about Lorenz Tate. My bad. My bad.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But what bothered me, now, what got me into wanting to watch All American was number one. I've had a crush on Tay Diggs for decades. So, and we're the same age. We'll just. Can I be real with you? Can I be real?
Hey, don't let it be real. Let it be bro.
Yeah.
I'm here.
No.
I'm here to be a psychologist tonight.
So in the fifth season, midway, they unfortunately killed off the character that he originated in, Billy Baker.
Mhm.
According to his character, he was this person that did. He played professional football, and then all of a sudden he's coaching in a Beverly Hills school, and then he came back to Crenshaw and started to coach where he was legend, and they ended up calling the football field at Crenshaw High,
Baker
Billy
Field.
Baker
The
Field.
Billy Baker Field.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just it's interesting to check all that stuff out. And that, you know what, there is someone named Spencer Moore that's also on the show as well, but a very young and attractive cast. But definitely what drew me in, number one, was just kind of seeing the relationship, the dynamic between Spencer James and Billy Baker, the Tay Diggs character. And so yeah, I feel like these are young people acting very adult.
Well, I look at it in a couple different ways, Val. The way I take it, I sit back, gnawing on my chicken wings, popcorn sometimes. You know, I look at it as there's what's the best way to put this? Me being a Kappa, we all about that diamond. So I look at
Mhm.
one piece of the diamond to the left is Tay and his wife, as you mentioned, South Central Los Angeles, very rough area, kind of like West Side, South Side Chicago. Comes up through the hood, comes out of Crenshaw High School, star football player with a couple other guys, goes pro. But what does he do? Marry a white girl. Then he has a family, moves out the city and moves to the suburbs. He doesn't move to just the suburbs, he moved to Brentwood. He moves out, in the very rich area of LA. And then he goes back to the city for his first love and find out she had a kid. That kid now is connected to him, which actually is also a star football player. And now he has to guide him. He takes him away from his mom and bring him out to the burbs as well, who then
Mhm.
falls in love with his own daughter. Then you have the other piece of the triangle, as you mentioned, with Breezy and Patience, because they got the LBG on the map and they're strong with it, and they're trying to play that piece out. But she is a reformed gangster thug, pull a gun out on you now, want to go to law school and save everybody. I'm like, what? And
Right,
so,
exactly.
and then she's got that. But Patience, her girlfriend, keeps up the singing role. And then the last role is you got the son in Jordan, who then falls in love with Layla, who was also then dating Spencer, who was in love with him a few seasons ago. It's like, what the hell y'all got going on? So that's that dynamic, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? But I
It's
tell
like
you,
it's like a love triangle. It's like
yeah,
a
it's
soap
like,
opera.
man, it's like keep it all in the bag. What y'all doing? And then the crazy part about it, which you didn't mention, the two moms, wonderful, Grace, who is Spencer's mom, played by Kamara Westbrook, and then you got Laura, who is Monet Mesner, who plays Liv and Jordan's mom, and they played it to the tilt. And then, they get to the last season, and then they've got to write a strong letter to compliment the passing of Billy, but the passing of the torch to their kids who are getting married and didn't know both of them was going to end up getting married in the same summer. And it ended up being a touching situation. I thought that was absolutely beautiful. Now, here's the one problem. You mentioned about them moving away from Daniel Everett, who is Spencer. So they didn't seem as though they were going to end the series. So my wonder, and for those who have seen it, my question to you tonight is, do you think that they are now going to go back to the HBCU to All-American Homecoming and build on that? Because if not, they just threw that young lady, African-American, who went down to the HBC, to the ATL, they just kind of threw that in for nothing, and you can call it a loss.
Let me deal with some of the things, and I'll answer that question. What is happening? Queen April says Tay Diggs is the ticket. Great talent, and he can really run fast. So that's good to know. And then, of course, she mentioned something about Crenshaw High. It's so sad. Crenshaw High does not have enough players to have a football team. Oh, no. Right. She's out there in Cali. She would know about that. But and then, of course, Tina's listening to you saying, not the chicken wings and corn. She can't believe you talking. It just, I guess. Come on, Tina. And, of course, King Wise is in the building. He's checking us out, saying what's happening, talking about we dropping some fire, which is always fun. But, of course, the show that's we know probably isn't coming back is All-American Homecoming, which is the spinoff of All-American. And I have to say, I am a fan of this as well. I think all of the seasons of that is on that. And of course, the spinoff is based on Grifta Maya. She plays Simone Hicks. And of course, Corey Hardick. Right. Corey Hardick plays Coach Marcus Turner. Kelly Jernette plays Amara Patterson. And then, of course, you have Netta Walker, Camille Hyde, who plays Thea Mays, Mitchell Edwards, who continues on his All-American character on All-America Homecoming as Cam Watkins. He's one of the people that comes down alongside. And, of course, Leonard Roberts, he plays the President Allen. Leonard Roberts has been in a lot of things. I don't know if you remember him. Most notably for me, I believe Love Jones.
Yep. And Val, I'm gonna tell you, for me, this is how I see it. I see that this series got caught with the SAG walkout and a writer's strike. So follow me here. And I think during the time period, as they're trying to put that season together, it was a struggle because Spencer, Jordan, neither of them really wanted anything to do with it. In order for them to even to write them in, they kind of wrote them out. Jordan had a small part because he was dating a young lady. He flew down to the ATL and then found out that's not where he wanted to be during that type of atmosphere. Why? Because he was with that cream. So that's a whole other ball game. So when you're looking at that, I think coming out the SAG now, all the writing is back. I think what they're going to do is they're going to take a season, and you guarantee me, you say, man, Coach Tony, I think they're going to take a skip season to put the All-American 6 episode that just finished on the shelf, because now they got to figure out how they're going to keep Spencer and Liv together, because she want to go to London, but now he's in the pros. And now she's got a book deal, and now the book is going well. So you don't need to go back to London. What? And so, and I think that you now got, Layla and Jordan on their thing, and then Breeze. So all the characters have, even Asher. You didn't mention Asher, but he's the white character, young guy. I think he's on his way to greatness and possibly coming a head coach. So now I think in order to write that next season, where they're going to probably turn All-American into postgraduates, into family, now you got to go back to the ATL. You can't just leave that black crowd in the A. You can't just throw them out there without a life preserver. So I think they're going to go back to the A, and they're going to rewrite a script. And I think that you're going to see the Homecoming Part 2, and then you're going to graduate these kids down there with, of course, George X and the baseball player falling in love.
Right. So, unfortunately, as of June of 2024, according to what am I looking at? Oh, I'm looking at deadline.com. All-American Homecoming has been canceled.
Oh,
The third and final season premiered on July 8th, 2024, and has 13 episodes. The show's creator, Nkechi Akoko Carroll, said she was devastated by the cancellation, but grateful for the work that she got a chance to do with the cast and crew. So they said it will not be proceeding with a fourth season.
it was just hard feeling, man. It was like you working on putting together a table, and all of a sudden you need that one boat, and instead of you finding a boat, you find a nut. You're like, well, maybe I'll leave this one boat out, and you leave it out, and you go put your food on, and the whole table fall down, right? Not knowing that one boat was the piece that held everything in the middle. And right. I think it was just awkward. If they were going to do that, in my opinion, Val, I think they could have spent a little more time, maybe creating some additional drama on the regular one. Keeping her in the mix with dating Jordan, fight off of Layla, maybe keeping Liv and Layla fighting over Spencer. Then my man, the baseball player, it could have been some drama up in there. They've been all good. Everybody got a check.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it, and I did the same thing with All-American, like I did with All-American, the original All-American Homecoming. As I would wait for it to get to Netflix and binge watch it, or at least watch half the season and then kind of step it down. Because right now I'm about 10 episodes into the 6th season of All-American, and so another great and attractive cast here with All-American Homecoming. This breaks my heart, according to Deadline, that the show is not coming back. But of course, they said, we made this show for the culture, and to thank our loyal audience and fans for taking this ride with us. We made this show so that our community, our kids, and their dreams could be seen and celebrated every week, and we're proud to say we accomplished that mission. This is the thing that I was checking out. They really brought, as a series, it's a drama, so it's different from A Different World. A Different World was a sitcom, and initially I don't know if you remember that first season of A Different World, it wasn't a black. It wasn't the HBCU, but then of course with Debbie Allen signing on from season 2 and beyond, she brought her HU, she brought her Howard University experience and expertise to the show, and you saw this change that happened with Lisa Bonet out, and then of course uplifting Jasmine Guy and Kadeem Hardison up. But when I saw All-American Homecoming, I was thinking, oh my gosh, we have a dramatic series that's similar to A Different World, but just on the dramatic side. I was rooting for Corey Hartwick's character and the romance that they had budding between Amara Patterson, Kelly Jeanette Jarrett's character. So I was like, oh, this is something going to happen, and we're not going to see it because it got canceled. So I'm just feeling some kind of way right now.
Well, I kind of compare this about, and I don't know, Ms. Tina, I want you to know you, April, and you got the Queen. Let me know, are you guys up on Dear White People? Because this kind of, that's where I was going, and I said, okay, But I like the Dear White People because it was a play on words because it was as a socially white university with the black people and the black students trying to figure out how to figure in. They were a square in a circle trying to figure out, okay, can I get this square in this round circle? And then they come to find out that the people around them were all fake as all I do it. The blacks were dating whites, the whites were dating blacks. The one that was talking about this. And it's so when I looked at this homecoming on that side, it kind of reminded me of that because if you go back and look at it, Val, there really wasn't a solid plot besides the baseball guy and Jordan's ex kind of connecting and Jordan flying down and find out that they gotten a little closer than they expected. He's in California and she's down in Atlanta. And then the second thought I thought about, they trying to make this like the Chris Brown movie that was the movie where my man Chris Brown
Stump the Yard.
Yeah, Stomp the Yard. Yeah. They trying to make this like a baby Stomp the Yard. That's because some of the scenes they were doing it. So I don't know what the writers were trying to get after, but that's why I think that it was kind of short-lived.
Yeah, and like I said, it got canceled, and I was like, oh my goodness, it at least last 5 seasons? Can we at least have you up there for 5 seasons?
I mean, Dear White People last like 6, 7 seasons. Dear White People was funny.
It was funny. And I was a fan. The very first season of Dear White People was actually much better than the other seasons that preceded. Yeah. And of course, its last season was a little. I kind of felt like it was all over the place. Like they had talked to Ryan Murphy and said, "Let's make this a musical." And I was like, I don't know if a musical is the best thing. With this, and here I asked the question of the audience: are you a fan of All American or All American Homecoming? And of course, our very own April says. She says, I'm a fan of both All American and All American Homecoming. She says, I love the incorporation of so many sports in these shows, and I love the authenticity. Coco Gauff had a wonderful appearance on All American Homecoming. Do you remember that?
I remember that on the episode where Jordan's ex-girlfriend was trying to make the tennis team.
Exactly.
Hey, you can't slide too much by the coach, you know what I'm saying?
And I know this was right up your way to go, okay, look, I want to make sure that I see something that is that's got some sports and some drama. So that's probably like a great combination. Of course,
it was a great comment. And it was one of those situations, Val, that type of show, if you think about it, and I love your analogy a moment ago about a different world, because the first thing you do when you think of a different world is do what? You have flashbacks to when you were in school, right? And so when you're looking at this All-American Homecoming, you're like, man, I wasn't at that HBCU because I was at a PWI, but them people that was at Clark Atlanta, they probably like, man, I remember I remember that time we were down, and I think it's good. I just don't think that they gave the writers the opportunity coming outside of the strike enough time to really build the character, build a better plot, and then figure out how to incorporate the original All-American into the Homecoming. Because I think they could have done it right, because if they'd have done it right, Val, think about it. You had Jordan, who is, pretty much a pro ball player himself, but having to retire because he had a heart situation. And then, of course, meets this young lady who's already rich out of the sky because her dad left him house, money, and music. And then you got Spence, who ended up going and dating a secondary rich person, but he ended up being rich in his own self because he became a professional player and rookie of the year and doing his thing. So now you got the Homecoming. My man was a top-notch baseball player, right? So they could have went ahead and put him in the major leagues and did his thing, and then they could have somehow figured out how my girl could have went on to be a tennis star.
Right, exactly.
So they if they wanted to, they could have done a couple of things and made it jump off a little bit better. I just think that with the time frame It was just an awkward time frame without money, and the show just didn't get an opportunity to get it plugged.
Yeah, and I hate that it did that. And so my definitely with the comparisons to Dear White People, which, like I said, was one of the interesting shows. It was a spinoff
Yeah,
of it was a spinoff of the movie that wasn't that good. I'll just say that
correct,
the
correct.
movie of this wasn't that good, but there was something about this series, especially that first season. The episode, season 1, episode 5 is my favorite. The
Hey, you
music,
got some nerds,
acting. Mhm.
nerds, nerds that end up in. It remind me of a Black Revenge of the Nerds movie from back in that day, and it was crazy because they pushed the envelope, and they were. I mean, from the student union meetings at night, in that little room that they were having. Oh, it was hilarious.
Yeah. So the creator was Justin Smiden, and he directed the original film. Logan Browning, Brandon P. Bell, Deron Horton, and then of course one of my favorite actors, Mark Richardson, and then Garcion Esposito was the narrator, and I loved his narration of Dear White People. That's available. That was exclusively made for Netflix, and of course, of all of these shows, to me, the origin story always starts with a different world. Always starts with
Exactly,
a
and
different
that's
world. Yeah.
and what's the one thing that A Different World did not have in it that all these other ones do? Oh, that's a
Um,
nice question for the audience. What's the
it
one
is.
thing that Watching A Different World did not have in it that All American Homecoming, and Dear White People had in it?
Hmm. Um, That's a very good question, because the different world and all those two, the All American Homecoming and All American, they had drama. So all three shows had drama.
Right.
All had music. All had
Yep.
music. There was love triangles in all three. So you're gonna have to let us know, what did A Different World did not have that All American and All American Homecoming and Dear White People, what did they have?
Well, due to the time and due to the era of the 90s versus now, All American, The Homecoming, and Dear White People all had an LBG type situation in all
Ah.
those episodes, but A Different World did not.
Yeah, and I think it was, if you have ever seen an interview with Debbie Allen, which I can say with a proud smile on my face. I got a chance to meet Debbie Allen
Oh, that's been
about
cool.
5 years ago. She was so sweet. I was doing photography for my non-for-profit corporate client, and I got a chance to just sneak in a picture with her, because her and her husband Norm Nixon were being honored,
No.
and they were being honored. But if you ever have seen any interviews with Debbie Allen, there were so many things that she fought to have done for this show, A Different World. If you remember the episode with Whoopi Goldberg that talked about AIDS, they could not show a condom.
Oh,
And Debbie Allen went into detail about how she had to fight with NBC and the executives. Like, we need to talk about this particular thing. And of course, the episode where Tupac appeared,
I
that
remember that.
didn't air initially. That did not air initially because of what happened with him in the news. I think
Yeah.
he got into a fight with Minister Society directors, the Hughes brothers, and
Yep.
so NBC did not initially air the Tupac episode of A Different World, but it got aired when they did the rebroadcast of A Different World, and did it in syndication. But there was a lot of things that Debbie Allen and other, Susan Fales and Yvette Lee Browser, she got her start on there. That's the creator of a Living Single.
Yep.
They fought for a lot of the issues to be talked about on the show, and we're happy. I'm happy we got what we got, because All American, there was definitely, I don't think there was any characters with the LBGTQ. None of that was not, I don't think there was any characters on A Different World like that at
No,
all.
absolutely
Mhm.
not. And I'm gonna extend what you had. I had an wonderful opportunity to meet her sister, Felicia Rashad, with Alan.
You met
Yeah,
Claire Huxtable?
yeah, I met Claire Huxtable back in the day with Ahmad Rashad, because Ahmad and Michael Jordan was pretty much best friends. And of course, he being out of the football world and ended up going into the sports commentator. He was in town in the Bulls, and we all had corporate tickets, in early '90s when the Bulls were playing, and the tickets was not too far up under the basket. And in town one day and leaving, just waiting after the game, trying to meet Michael and do a couple of things like that. And he was there and just got an opportunity to talk to him. And just unfortunately, back in the day, you weren't going to a game with a freaking phone in your hand that had a camera on it, right? So, and then no one was walking into the game with a cannon around their neck. So it was just the opportunity to meet him, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, I love A Different World. In the last season of A Different World at North Central College, where we both went, I used to have watch parties. We had a big watch party for the wedding episode. You remember the wedding episode of A Different World? Yeah. Yeah, we had watch parties.
I remember the frat episode when they played though.
And you notice they could never use real
fraternity and sorority names, right? You see the real fraternities in the background. They'll be real. You'll see the capitals of the Q stepping in. Oh, it was funny, but they were coming up with some crazy names, and Dwayne Wayne, they was trying to play Jim and Ron. Oh man, that was.
And Ron went through, and he didn't. But the dancers that was the steppers and dancers that was on those episodes end up being the background dancers for Jasmine Guy who played Whitley. She came out with an album called Just Try Me or something. Yeah. She came out with a single or whatever. Yeah.
Doom. I remember the one jam. She had one cut. She may have one hit wonder on there. That led into to Spike Lee's famous movie of all time. Who Daddy Long Stroke.
You can't smoke it.
What you say to me? I'm a hill man boy. Man.
Which is hilarious. I'm telling you, man. I like I said, I'm such a big fan of that era. But like I said, the All-American is going to come back to the CW this fall. It'll be the 7th season, but I get, unfortunately, the vibe that it's probably going to end up being the last season for All-American, especially if Daniel Ezra, who plays Spencer James, I feel like the entire series was centered around his character. Now, if he leaves and he's not there, who's going to be the person that they decide to focus in on? I'm wondering. What do you think?
You know what I think happened, Val?
What?
One or two things. I think you have the secondary focus will move to Spencer's little brother, who moved to New York, trying to get schooling together. And I think they'll figure out a way to take him on. I think they write Spencer and Olivia off the show. I think he probably retires from the NFL early or gets hurt early, gets his money, and now it's time to do what Liv's trying to do, is sell her books, and she wants to go to London. And she goes back over there and bumps into Ashley, who thought they was a girl, but it was a guy. And I think that you then focus everything around mental health. And I think they moved the show towards Jordan and Layla, with Jordan having a heart condition and Layla coming off with mental illness with her mother's death. And I think that becomes the new focus of the show.
Okay. That could happen. And I like how in the 6th season they really deal with Jordan. They really deal with the mental health situation, and just I didn't know that there was light therapy that can be used to help get you out of some of those things. Like I really like some of the character, and that particular character. I was just thinking that she had gone through, and I'm trying to think of her name right now. You had mentioned her. Let's see. Yes, Layla Keeling. That is. She is African and English. Greta
Yeah,
Organego.
yeah,
She plays Layla, and of course, who's playing her? They're going to be getting married. That's it. Yes.
right.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they get that, and like my girl Tina Michelle, Tina said she's also met Felicia Rashad back in the day. She had a great time, but she
Oh,
loved her more on Broadway with Chicago's own Ben Vereen and Gregory Hines. So you can't have a better Broadway show than to have some big hits like that.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, Felicia Rashad is definitely a great stage actor, but her turn as Claire Huxtable on the Cosby Show for what was it, 8 seasons?
Hey,
Eight-
don't,
I
Justine.
yeah. So
Oh,
as
hold
I
on,
stated
hold
in
on.
the as I stated in the chat, I do not want the character Spencer James to go from the show. I
Yes,
if they could
please.
find a way to bring him back, I want it. I want him back.
Yep, yep. And speaking of the Cosbys, the funniest
Uh-huh.
episode to me was Theo with the Gordon Gartrell shirt. That was the and for those that don't know what I'm talking about, that means you're too young to know about it. You need to Google it and watch it. Because that Gordon Gartrell was hilarious.
Oh, it sure was. It sure was. Oh my
And
goodness.
he was gonna turn himself to a famous fashion designer.
Oh my goodness. That's too funny. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? Like I said, All American is coming back. Average Joe is coming back, but it's coming back to BET Plus, and of course, the CW is going to have All American. Unfortunately, All American Homecoming won't be coming back. But like I
Wow.
said, we never know. Netflix could pick it up, or
Yeah.
another network could happily pick it up.
I think they may. It's like for those of you guys watching, did you watch Snowfall?
I did. That's one of the series I have to go back and watch. I was told that it was really, really good.
Girl, if you ain't watched Snowfall, I'm jumping off this show because
I saw the first episode and could
yeah,
not allow myself to get caught up.
let
That
me
is
tell
the
you
show that
something.
was created by
It,
the late and great
uh,
filmmaker,
yeah,
Boys in the Hood director.
yeah. It's made by oh, you just had me have a brain fart. I just had him in my head. Jesus Christ. Boy, God, if you didn't say it, wouldn't say anything, I'd have had it. But anyway, you're looking at
John
a circle.
Singleton.
John Singleton. You're looking at a circle right there. Snowfall is a fallout of uh, the cartel series. So
Okay.
Narcos. And if you're not a Narcos person, then you don't need to watch Snowfall because Narcos is going to set you up for all of that. And if you're
Hmm.
any place in that whole thing, then you start learn about the Medellin cartel, Sinaloa cartel, and then all that, and then and then you're looking at all those mixed into together. Tom Cruise had a movie where he was the one that was delivering the airplane situation, and then you go back to Denzel Washington's movie, which was what
Okay.
American Gangster, and then they
Okay.
alluded to. So Snowfall brings all of those movies in the Southern California back in the day when you ran a pigtail run around the Chi, you know what I'm saying, back in the early 80s. Crazy.
Wow. I'm telling you, but like I said, I did not get a chance to really get into Snowfall. I'm definitely a Power person. I'm right now in the process of catching up with the second, third seasons of Power Book 2 because that in September is going to be coming back for the last of the second half of the last season, and
Right.
I was told that it was not okay. What Mark has a question. Wasn't American Gangster about Frank Matthews who has North Carolina ties? I'm not sure about that. That's a good question, Mark.
Yeah, Frank, I don't know. No, that wasn't I don't think Frank's last name was Matthews. That was
I don't think Frank's name was Matthews either. Yeah.
no, that ain't Frank Matthews. There's he was a big gangster in New York at the time. I don't think he had ties to New York at all. He had ties to that Brooklyn Harlem area. I know that, and ties to what was going on with with everything that was going on
Frank
over
Lucas.
Frank
Frank
Lucas. There you go.
Lucas.
It was Frank
Mhm.
Lucas. That was that character, and he was a big time New York guy. Period. That was tied into Snowfall. That was tied into the cartel. Even in American Gangster. Val, remember he took the airplane flight over to Cambodia. Remember
He sure
to
did.
go
I do
to pick up
remember
his
that.
stuff. So I'm telling you right now, go back and watch Snowfall. It's a great hit for you, and I'm telling you, absolutely love it.
Wonderful, wonderful. My goodness, my goodness. Well, we're going to mention it again. Coming September 9th. Coming
Yay, Dave.
September 9th. It is the Pull Up Podcast Show. He's coming back, ladies and gentlemen.
Cross you over, pull up on me, pull up on him, pull up on him. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you're not out there with my ear, first of all, Mark, I appreciate you. Thank you, buddy. I'm glad you just said you had a great time last night at the top of the hour. I appreciate you again also watching the DNC tonight. That's good, great coverage. And I appreciate you giving us some updates there. Man, we had a great time with you last night and on the show. And as Val mentioned, we're going to come back with a young lady to kick off season 2, and Miss Alexis Levi from none other than Viva Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
She's going to come in and talk to us a little bit about women in sports, Val, getting their roses. They're this men-dominated sports world, and she has cut those ropes down, and she's going to talk to us about it.
Which is going to be fun to see. That's going to be fun to see and really, really experience. So like I said, that's going to be fun. So September 9th, Coach will be back. He'll be doing his thing. And of course, we had such a good time with the fan appreciation show that we will be bringing that back at the end of the second season for the Pull Up Podcast Show. So we really appreciate you guys showing up and doing your thing.
And it's early, as Val just mentioned. So if you want to be on that, at the end of season 2, make sure you're watching the Pull Up, because all my questions come throughout the season. And then we choose the best people to get on the show with me to have that in-depth conversation.
Yeah, and you had such a great situation, which is really, really, really wonderful. Oh my goodness. But of course, A DJ Saved My Life. That is the new ebook that is out from yours truly, Val the Voice Johnson. And of course, go ahead and scan the QR code. And of course, it's also available on purelighthousemedia.net. And then of course, we have the Patreon. Join our community via Patreon today. That's patreon.com/interludes. You'll get some behind the scenes and some other things happening with us here. And like I said, we are excited about it. Got another Talk on Tuesdays in the books. We're hearing from Queen April that the DNC is fire. So I'm going to go and turn it on and check it out.
You know what they should be playing right now? Fire, doom, doom, doom. When you walk, you talk, you really burn me out, girl. See, don't get me started. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me started over here.
Oh my gosh. Well, sans Coach Tony, I'll be back on next week with another episode of Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. And of course, the Interludes podcast is going to be premiering on August 28th with Jay Mullane, also known as Wise. Gone ahead. He'll be talking about his new book, Where, and him as a tech coach. I'm Val the Voice. What about you, Coach?
Man, you already know me. I'm Coach Tony.
We'll see you. We'll see you soon. Peace.